Hello, today I'm going to show you how to use layer masks to correct the exposure in a photograph. So if I open up my RAW file, I took this photograph sitting in a train, waiting at the station. I thought I would just take a photograph of, the outside buildings, but also try and get some of the train carriage roof at the same time. You can see that the difference in exposure is quite extreme. So whilst the outside of the image is okay, it's exposed to a okay standard, the inside is completely dark. So I'm going to do a couple of conversions, and then I'm going to use a layer mask to bring both conversions together. You can see that I actually took my photograph at an ISO of 1600. The reason I did that really was because I didn't want to go any lower with my shutter speed, because I thought I might have some camera shake. So I did set my ISO quite high, and that will hold me back a bit in terms of clarity, because I won't be able to go all the way with clarity, because it'll just make it really grainy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely ignore this part for now, and I'm just going to concentrate on the inside of the carriage. First thing I'm going to do is bring the exposure up to bring it back in. Now with the clarity, if I went right to the edge, you could see how grainy that would make it, which is something I don't want, so I am going to bring it back to somewhere around here. I don't particularly like all this kind of yellow lighting and this kind of brown yellowy colour, so I am going to desaturate it a bit. Take the edge off that. Again, the clarity, I'm trying to avoid as much grain as I can, but this is it. If you take your photographs and you've got quite high ISO, there's only so much you can do. Right, I'm going to bring maybe the blacks down a little bit, maybe the contrast up, and again saturate it just like a little bit. I don't want to make it black and white, but also I don't want that very, very sort of bright yellow as well. I might bring the vibrance down now. I could be editing this for a long time, maybe another 10 minutes, just doing fine changes to each of these, the highlights and the shadows. But for the sake of convenience, I'm just probably going to leave it there. So at the moment, with this image, the only thing that I've dealt with is the inside of the carriage. Okay, this part, the outside, I have completely ignored. I'm going to work on this one on my next conversion. So at this point, when you're happy with, I don't know, the part that's too dark in your image, you open it in Photoshop, go to image, image size, we'll put in our standards numbers, which is 15 width or height 10th or vice versa, and OK. And I'm going to go to File and Save As, and I'm going to call it Train Carriage Conversion 1. I'm going to save as a JPEG to my desktop and save. OK, and I'm going to close. Now I'm going to do another conversion, so I'm going to just drag my RAW file back into Photoshop again. This time you'll see when you open it up, you've got the old slide markers. Okay, so what you can do if you want to is just take them sort of back into the middle. So it'll be exactly how it was at the start, or near to that. I don't think there's going to be that much change on the outside. I think that's going to probably stay quite similar. Okay, but I will do like a little bit of work to it. So I'm just going to have a look at the exposure. Obviously, it's quite hard to judge it. It was raining outside, so it was quite a dark day, but you don't want it to be too dark. Again, if I put the clarity up, you can see all of this grain, and also it's slightly blurry as well, and that just sort of highlights it a little bit. So I'm just probably going to put the clarity around there, so it's not too grainy. Again, I desaturated this side, so I've desaturated these lights, and I've got the reflection of these lights in the window. So then I will need to desaturate this side a little bit as well. Might put a bit of contrast into it, maybe just to get those sort of shadows up. Let's try a little bit, maybe vibrance here. At this point, I mean, you do have a blown sky, so that means there's no clouds in the sky, there's nothing, it's not a blue sky, it's raining, so it's just white cloud. It's going to be very, very difficult to get anything back into that sky. You could maybe just bring it down a bit so it's not too overexposed compared to the rest of the image. And by doing that, you can see that there are some sort of grey little patches in there as well as the white. As I said, if there's no clouds in there in the first place, if it is just a blank white sky, then it is going to be really difficult to do anything much with it. Okay, so you have to make a judgment and see whether you think that this side would match up with the conversion you did earlier. You just got to sort of keep an eye really on what you think is going to be the like a good balance. I'm just going to bring the saturation down just a little bit more because I think it was just the lights here a bit too yellowy. Okay, so I think if I just call it, I'd say there, open the image, again image size, width 15, height 10, resolution 300, okay. And then I'm going to go and save as train carriage conversion 2 and save. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now file and place embed conversion 1 here, place that in. Okay, it'll just go straight on top and tick it. I'm just going to go on my magnifying glass and just increase it a bit. And now we're going to do the layer mask. So the layer mask is over here. It's like that little grey circle in the white rectangle. Click on it. Click inside the little white frame. And make sure that this black square is on top of the white square. If it's like this, where white is on top of black, then you need to go to this little double-headed arrow here and click on it and move it so the black square is on top. You need to go to your quick selection tool, and hopefully, because there is such a big contrast between the inside and the outside of the carriage, I'm hoping that the quick selection tool will cling on to the edges. So I'm just going to pull the quick selection tool until every part of it, that's it, is surrounded. I'm going to go to my brush, and now it's up to you. At the moment the opacity for this is 100%, so when I brush it through it'll come through exactly how it looks in the photograph underneath. So if I was to put the opacity down to the 20s and I was brushing through, you can see we'll bring it through at around 20%. You might think, oh, that's a bit faint, so what I'll do is I'll bring it through 50%. You can see now that it's getting stronger. And if you were to bring it through 100%, then that's exactly what it looks like underneath. But actually, looking at it now, maybe 100% is maybe a little bit too much. So let me just see, just step back a bit. I might then instead just go to around 80% and bring it through at 80%. Once you are happy with the opacity and you've brushed in the layer underneath, then Command and D, get rid of your marching ants, and then image size, again say the same, 1510, okay, and then file, and I'm going to call it finished train carriage. I'm going to save it as a JPEG on my desktop and save. Okay. Now, if you want to see a sort of before and after version, the best thing to do is to go to File, Place Embed, and I have got an original image here that I have saved as a JPEG to the same specifications. So if I open that, okay, so this is what my original raw file looked like, just simply saved as a JPEG with no changes to it, so I could just judge the before and after. So if you go here and click the eye on and off, that was the after, sorry, that was before and that's after. So you can see you can correct very under or overexposed areas within your photograph simply by doing, you know, 2 or 3 conversions and then layering them up and then making a layer mask and then brushing them through. Okay, and then all I would do for this is make sure that you you don't flatten this. You just delete the layer. Okay, so delete the layer, yes, and file and close because you've already saved it. And that's it. That's the end of the tutorial. Okay, thank you.